Right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our next Meet the Pack episode. I am joined by Dr. Latha Ramakrishnan, the new Dean of the College of Science and Technology. We really appreciate everybody spending time with us tonight. The weather is nice, but not as nice as the event that you're going to experience here on Facebook. This event is being recorded. And it should take probably around 25 or 30 minutes, enough time for you to get to know Dean Latha here, one of the newest additions to the Husky family. Dean Latha, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Tom. Yeah.
That's great. We're happy to have you. Happy to have you here as, like I said, as the newest member to the Bloomsburg University family. But just before we get started, just a nice softball one. Can you introduce yourself a little bit? Maybe tell us a little bit about who you are and maybe what you're doing when you're not quote unquote deaning at Bloomsburg.
Absolutely. So, in my day job, I'm the Dean of the College of Science and Technology. Of course, when I'm not doing my dean job, I absolutely love to go for a walk. Especially in the weekends, that's what I do. I have twins who are 13 years old. So in the weekends, that's one of the things that we do. We go to whatever nearby parks that we can find and like to go for a walk and read books. Catch some, shows, particularly anything that is related to travel and food. I absolutely love to watch those. So yeah, and definitely I'm so happy and thrilled to be here and as a new member of the BU family, and thrilled to be the Dean of the College of Science and Technology. About myself, I am a chemist, actually a professor of biochemistry. Without going into the details of what I teach and what I've taught and whatnot, certainly, a traditional academic path is what brought me to BU, and absolutely love being here.
Sure. And Dean Latha, so you like to watch shows about travel. You're interested in different types of food. What's maybe the coolest place or your most favorite place to travel to?
Tom, if you would ask me, I have a long bucket list.
Sure.
So if we want to talk about countries that I've not visited yet and absolutely would love to go to, South Africa is top of the list. Cambodia is yet another one. And the reason is because of where I come from. I'm from the south of India. And so there are some really long historical connections to those places, as you can imagine. But absolutely a place that I went to and hope to take our kids one day is Rome. We were in Vatican City, and absolutely, and that's the most memorable trips that I've done. Myself and my husband, we did this years ago. Got to go to Rome and, of course, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But yes, didn't go to Florence, so certainly would love to go there one day. But we promised our kids we will take them when they're old enough to appreciate the art and culture over there. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, those are some wonderful places. So can you talk a little bit about your journey to Bloomsburg? I know, I remember when you interviewed Dean Latha, and I know you spent some time other places, and I know you had a very impressive resume, which means you probably had other options, but you chose to come to Bloomsburg. So I'd be really interested to hear about your journey to Bloomsburg and maybe why you chose Bloomsburg.
Absolutely. I come from a family in the south of India, and I'm a first generation college student. My dad, he trained as a technician in civil engineering. He did not have a 4-year college degree. My mom did not even complete elementary school. And and my sister got married when she was 16. So for me, education was the way out in terms of exploring and doing what I absolutely love doing, which I found out at a certain point that it's chemistry that I really liked. Not that much of math, and I did try biology, but landed in chemistry. And so that's what took me to pretty much the next steps in my academic journey, in all the way up to Cornell University. So my first stop, entry into United States is at Cornell University, Ithaca, New York. As it's roughly 3 hours from here. So I spent 6 years of my career doing research, and especially actually venturing into a different line of science and research when I was at Cornell University. From there, I got an opportunity to take up a teaching job at St. Cloud State University in Minnesota. And absolutely, loved, teaching, and most importantly, loved doing research with undergraduate students. And that actually brings me to as to why Bloomsburg University, right? Because both St. Cloud State and Bloomsburg, there are lots of similarities. And the most important ones are, both institutions are public higher education institutions, state funded, and primarily undergraduate institutions. So we are pretty similar in terms of our mission, which is access, and also in terms of our vision, which is student success. As a part of all of that mission and vision is, I absolutely loved, working with undergraduate students and showing them that, all they have to do is dream and seek those opportunities, and so that they can achieve what they aspire to. And I often share my story with them that, I pretty much failed every class when I was in my 6th grade. So if I can be here today, they can do anything.
Right. That's a similar story to you always hear. Michael Jordan didn't make his high school JV basketball team, but through hard work and perseverance, he turned into Michael Jordan. So in a way, Dean Latha, you were like the Michael Jordan of chemistry.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Very
that's very flattering, but I'll take it.
Right. And actually, in Dean Latha, that's interesting to hear that. So you were a first generation student. And I know we have a lot of our students here at Bloomsburg that are also first generation. I know President Hannah is a first generation student, and that's a big part of who we are as an institution, serving that population of students where they're the first person in their family to go to college. So I think having leadership where they have been through that experience themselves, that makes a difference, because you've been in their shoes before. Yeah,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. And in fact, if I can, just add one point, I, moved from a small town. Of course, nowadays it's a big, city itself. But when I was growing up from that small town, I moved to a big city and went to one of the world-class institutions in India in, technology and science and technology. Indian Institute of Science is what it is called. I was definitely, very intimidated and felt like fish out of water, and therefore it was difficult. It was not an easy path, but I had the support of my peers. I had the support of my mentors, my faculty who believed in me and encouraged me all along. If not for that support structure and the belief of others, I don't think I would be here today. So it's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel intimidated. It's okay to feel like, I cannot do it and I want to go back home to the comforts of my home. But just stay put is what I would say to anyone who's thinking about giving up.
Right. And you know what? And you make a good point. No one does it on their own. And so one of the reasons why we like to do these Meet the Pack events is so prospective students and families and supporters have an opportunity to meet some of the key decision makers here on campus that will not be tasked away in an office, but these are the people that will be supporting you as a student. This is a face, this is a person, these are people that you're going to meet here on campus at Bloomsburg. So we want to make sure you have an opportunity to meet everybody, and they're going to be, your biggest fans and your biggest supporters. Yep, so great. So thank you, Dean Latha.
Absolutely.
So you had mentioned that you are a biochemist by trade. That's what most of your training is in. And you spent a long time as a faculty member. You've taught many, many classes, I'm sure. Do you have a favorite in mind? What was your favorite subject to teach?
If I were to go by my disciplinary training, of course, I have to say biochemistry and most importantly, biophysical chemistry. And I know I'm going, getting into, depth of my discipline, but the reason why that is so fascinating for me is because it kind of marries all the different fields, like the experimental science that I learned as a physical chemist, but then applications to living systems and living beings. But then it's not just, understanding what's going on, but using technology and various techniques to understand what is really going on in a living organism, and how can we, especially the field that I was working on and doing research was understanding diseases at a molecular level, not only cellular level, but it's at the molecular level, so that we can design drugs, we can design therapies. Hopefully one day we can find a treatment and a cure for a disease. And so that's teaching those classes are always absolutely my favorite thing to do. But there is one course that certainly stands out, which is I taught it with the communication sciences and disorders faculty. So as a chemist, I was literally, stepping into a zone that was outside of my comfort zone. And the course was called, it's a honors course, and it called a Single Cells to Memories. I do remember my colleague and myself, the 51st dates, or one of the movies where the lead person keeps forgetting the day's events. So we certainly looked into lots of fun examples, like stories like that, to kind of relate to how memory is formed, to how memory loss can impair, what kind of impairments that can cause in diseases like Alzheimer's disease. But also what is the stigma that people have around the world in different cultures, especially those that are suffering from Alzheimer's disease or dementia, or even post-stress disorder syndromes, PTSD, and how that affects memory. So it was a very interesting class to teach. So Tom, if you were to ask me, that would be my favorite class, Single Cells to Memories.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds amazing. And an incredibly relevant topic, given, some of the things that's happening in the world of science and technology. Just, very, very impressive. Very impressive. So, and I know we have interviewed some of our other deans here at Bloomsburg, but what exactly does a dean of the College of Science and Technology do, right? You don't go to school to be a dean, right? It's something you work your way up to. So what exactly does a dean do?
Absolutely. There is no dean school. There is no school that prepares us to be a dean. But that's pretty much with any leadership positions, right? And a dean's job, as one of my colleagues once described to me, it's actually a fellow dean at Bloomsburg University. He described it as CEO of the college. And so pretty much you're responsible for everything that happens within the college. Everything with respect to, students, and their journey as they enter and exit Bloomsburg University. And I called it as, the life cycle of our student. We start working with students very early on when they are in schools. And of course now, we start with middle schoolers to high schools, and in building a path for them to come to BU, to nurturing and supporting them, and most importantly for myself, I love to meet with students and encourage them in doing whatever they want to do. And so throughout their time here at BU, ensuring that they have such an engaging and wonderful learning opportunity. And then once they graduate and leave, of course, my most favorite thing to do is to call up and talk to our alumni.
Sure.
And in my short 3 months, I have had the opportunity to talk to at least half a dozen alumni, most successful and have accomplished great things. And most importantly, they are engaged with BU and are so committed to the success of our students. It's such an amazing opportunity for me to talk to those alumni who are so committed and supportive of Bloomsburg and its students. So that is from a student's lens, from a student perspective, that a dean's job is throughout the life cycle of a student. But of course, there are lots of other things that we do as deans. Certainly, if anybody is interested, I would encourage them to stop by in my office, and I'll be more than happy to go for a cup of coffee with them and talk about what a dean does.
Well, Dean Latha, we have 2 Starbucks on campus. Are you a Starbucks person?
Absolutely. So
okay.
It's kind of like a ritual I do at least once.
Sure.
A day I go to Starbucks and in the short few weeks, they already know what coffee I get. So they just see me and they have the staff there. They're so kind. They have it ready for me.
All right. So I have to ask, I myself am also a Starbucks man. I know I oftentimes see Dean Brown, the Dean of the College of Liberal Arts, at Starbucks, caffeining up before the day. You go to Starbucks. What's your go-to drink? What's the normal?
Oh, I'm the veranda blonde, the blonde roast. So I'm a coffee, caffeine person. And yeah, you mentioned Dean Brown. He and we've been talking about, going and getting a cup of coffee. So you reminded me of, doing that.
Yep. Oftentimes I would see Dean Brown bright and early, 7:30 in the morning, going to get a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And yep, absolutely. So you'll oftentimes see him there as well. Yes. Can't go wrong with some Starbucks. So what are some of your priorities in leading and supporting students as they become young professionals? What are some of the things that are kind of at the forefront of your vision for the Bloomsburg University College of Science and Technology?
I've said this to my colleagues in the College of Science and Technology many times already, which is our goal is one, which is student success.
Sure.
And what I mean by that is, I'm just not simplifying that as in terms of, the measures that we typically talk about in terms of student success, which is retention, year-to-year retention, graduation rates, how students are performing in classes, that we measure, that we look at it in terms of assessment of student learning in classes. All of those are important. There is no question about that. But I look at it, I look at student success from a broader perspective, most importantly from the perspective of experiences of our students, while they are in the classes, inside the classroom, and also outside of the classroom. Particularly in sciences and in technology areas, science and technology areas, most of the learning happens outside of the classroom. And what I mean by that is, when students are doing research, whether it is, research lab here at BU in the campus, or they have an opportunity to go to do research in a national lab or an internship, most importantly in those industrial places or companies, where they are learning, the skills that they would be applying as a professional in the future. So all of those opportunities, both curricular, co-curricular opportunities, how well are we providing that? How well that is helping our students, and how well are we preparing them for success after they graduate and leave BU? So that is the lens through which I look at student success. Absolutely, as we are preparing our students, we focus on technical preparation or technical skill development, as well as what industries like to call it as soft skills or core skills. So all of that is most important. So simply put, I would say student success is the highest priority for the college.
And I'm always so surprised, and I shouldn't be surprised at this point, I guess, but our students spend so much time not just learning about the theory of sciences, but actually what Dr. Klinger from the biology program would say, doing science. Right. And I think that's one of the things that I have recognized that helps us stand out a bit is students are going to spend a lot of time practicing what they are learning. And sometimes that might help us stand out amongst some of the larger, more name brand institutions that are out there. And as I go across, as we do some of these other events on Facebook, and we highlight some of our academic programs in the College of Science and Technology, see placement rate 100%, placement rate 100%, placement rate 100%. That's not a coincidence. At least I doubt it. There's something there. And I think our College of Science and Technology does a good job of putting students in an opportunity to be successful.
Absolutely. And in fact, we've been doing these Husky Decision Days in the last month or so, and we have 2 more events coming up. In that, on that day, we showcase, a student success story. A road to success is what we call. And every one of the stories that we are featuring of our successful graduates is, every one of them have had an opportunity to do an internship in a national lab. Particularly in our digital forensics program, since we are a center of academic excellence as recognized by the National Security Agency and the Department of Homeland Security, our students have done, in internship opportunities, with national agencies. That certainly, oftentimes students are hired before even they graduate, as they go into the internship opportunities, most of them come back with a job in hand, meaning a commitment to getting a job in the industry that they decide to go. So we are very fortunate to have those partnerships with national labs to other research institutions, Research One institutions across the nation, so that we are able to place our students well.
Yep. And when I used to recruit out of state in other places where it's not convenient to come to Bloomsburg, these were the majors that would put us on the map for a lot of students, is because the reputation predominantly would speak for itself. Yes, absolutely. Totally agree. So every university has a College of Science and Technology. I know I kind of stepped on this question a little bit with me talking last time, but why would you recommend Bloomsburg and specifically the College of Science and Technology to any prospective students?
Absolutely. It's, our faculty. Sure. First and foremost is our faculty. We have such rock star faculty in the College of Science and Technology. Every one of them is so deeply committed to the success of our students. We saw so many examples of how our faculty, pivoted and support student success during COVID, or due to COVID, when we had to pivot online. But it's not just during these challenging times, even otherwise, our faculty are so committed to the success of our students. It is not a surprise if faculty are staying up late night, either responding to student emails, or some of our nursing faculty were sharing the other day that, given how the hours of nursing students, that they are even working until 10, 11 in the night, supporting students, that are in the graduate and doctoral programs that we offer to nursing students here. And it is, quite common to find that faculty have like an open door policy. So meaning students can, drop in and chat with faculty. And of course, now we do drop in through Zoom, Zoom office hours, but otherwise, our faculty are here to support our students as they need help, whether it is advising, helping them decide what courses to take, to really informal mentoring, not necessarily formal mentoring, but also informal mentoring, sharing with them their journey, because a number of our faculty are also BU alumni, BU grads who are first generation, who are from this region, who really understand what it takes to go through this journey. Right. And so that is so profoundly important as our faculty are working with our students and sharing them their journey, but also most importantly, guiding our students, advising our students as to how to go about achieving what they want to achieve. And the other is, of course, our portfolio of programs that we offer in the College of Science and Technology. We offer a broad portfolio, but most importantly, I always say this, it's not the number that counts, it's actually the quality of programs that we offer. And a number of our programs are accredited. When I say accredited, they have been recognized by professional societies and organizations in those particular disciplines. I shared about our digital forensics program as to how we are designated as the Center for Academic Excellence in Cyber Defense Education by NSA and DHS. But if you take our nursing program, that is nationally recognized and accredited by CCNE. We have such programs in, engineering technology to chemistry. It's a long list, right? But that quality of academic programs that we offer is certainly one. And the last one that I would emphasize is that I would like to highlight, I should say, is the experiential learning opportunities. Particularly here, I would like to highlight our X department. It's environmental geography, and I'm sure I'm going to get this, not right, but this is why we have abbreviations, right? X.
Yes, everything has an acronym.
Geoscience, geography, environmental science. The faculty proud themselves in providing this field experiences to our students, and so therefore our students have the opportunity to travel and engage in field experiences under the mentorship of our faculty, and all of this is made possible because our faculty in one discipline are not just looking down and only in their discipline. They are they are collaborating with other faculty. It's so common to find the biology faculty to work with the geoscience faculty, in chemistry working with biology faculty. That faculty collaboration, that interdisciplinary collaboration, makes the education that we provide to our students that much more sound and robust and engaging.
Right. Yeah, and you know what? So I am not. My undergrad degree was not from the College of Science and Technologies. My degree is from the College of Liberal Arts. But I know with our College of Science and Technology faculty, the availability of them to their students is always just incredible to me. Incredible. I mean, they're almost like they're an on-call doctor, but they're on call 24/7. We talk to our students, we talk to our faculty, and they're answering emails at 11 p.m. and they're meeting on campus, on a Saturday, and it's like they live here. And I think that is that makes a difference. That makes a difference.
So can I add a funny story here? So
please do.
Last Saturday we had our second Husky Decision Day. And one of the chairs, I was in the big auditorium, the Haas auditorium, and we had the flexibility of some chairs in the room and some in the Zoom room. So I was calling on one of the chairs, and of course he was not in the Zoom room. And of course, a few minutes later he came on, and this is what he said to me later. He sent a message to me saying, "Dean Latha, I apologize. I was advising a student and I lost track of time." So that's the story, right? I mean, that's an example that demonstrates how committed our faculty are. This was on a Saturday, and here was a faculty who was, supporting a student, a current student, and they are not, bound by the times, and they are there to support the student as long as it takes. And that is in a nutshell how our faculty are.
There's a very strong community and a very strong social fabric in the College of Science and Technology and within Bloomsburg at large as well. So I think that makes a difference. So that concludes the interview, Dean Latha. We really appreciate your time. I think we used most of the sunlight out there, but again, this was a way better time to spend your evening anyways. So thank you everybody for watching. We really appreciate it. And welcome to the Husky family, Dean Latha. We loved having you.
Thank you. Absolutely. My pleasure. I'm, the last 3 months have just flew by, and and has been so wonderful and amazing to get to know the other members of the BU family. And I also got, I'm now able to walk around and enjoy the campus. It's such a beautiful campus. I'm definitely, every day, at least, as I said, a cup of coffee at Starbucks, that's my excuse to walk in. I'm adding that to my steps. That's very pathetic, but at least, I'm getting some steps and my coffee, most importantly.
The one thing you will learn at Bloomsburg is every day is leg day. The campus itself is built into the side of a mountain. Now, it is very beautiful. However, the campus is quite hilly. So no, that's a great way to get your steps in. Again, you might see me out there making my steps around campus as well. A lot of good places to eat, a lot of good places to study, a lot of good places to hang out. So Dean Latha, thank you very much. To everyone who's tuning in the audience, thank you for your time. We look forward to hearing from everybody in the future, and have a wonderful night. Go Huskies.
Go Huskies, and thank you. And always, any questions, reach out to us and we'll be happy to support you. We are here to support you.
That's right. Thank you, everybody.